Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Cuttin Deep with the bros. What's good? Good to see y'all again, man. Yes, sir. Good to see y'all again. So let's get right into it. We don't need no intro today.
No intro.
We're gonna
off
get
the top
right
of the dome.
Let's get
into it. All right. So today's topic is college a scam? Now, this is a tough subject. I love this subject. I didn't even choose it. My man C chose this one again.
See,
He
coming up with
is
the
tough.
topics.
He is tough when it comes to choosing these topics. So.
Son, like there's just a lot of things in like our society, our world that, you know, interactions we have or experiences we have that cause us to have different perceptions of things. So I think it's just cool to, you know what I'm saying, dig in and see where everybody falls on it, because it's not like a straightforward thing, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So we can get into it.
Yep. So first thing, as we're opening up, I'm gonna start on a real general level, and we can kind of see how the conversation goes. But do you all think that college is a good investment?
I think it depends.
All right, we'll flesh that out. Explain what you
It does depend.
I think if you know what you're trying to do with your life, exactly the field you go in, what it requires, I think college is a great investment. But I think if you have no clue what you're trying to do, and then you take out a loan to go to college, that might not be the best investment, because then you're just going to go there. And not even saying that it's not a good idea, but a lot of the stuff that you can do at community college. Because I think we're talking about college in terms of university.
That's what I did. Yo,
Yeah.
He said,
I got to throw it in.
Go ahead.
It doesn't make sense to, and outside of college, anything else, to go to the bank and get a loan and be like, I'm gonna figure out what it's for later. I just need like $100,000.
Thank you for painting that picture.
I just need 100 racks. I need 100 racks. I need 100 racks right now, and I'm gonna figure out what I need to do with it later. But just give me the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, in what situation is that ever? You know what I'm saying? But I think there's more to that.
Exactly. So it's like, if you don't know what you want to do and just be like, I want to go to college, it's one thing. All right. So it's one thing if you can just afford that drink. You just pay to go, and that's your money. You go ahead. Like, I mean, I wouldn't advise it, but you can go do it and just waste your time. But if you go and take out, like he said, a loan, don't know what you want to do, and you just go to college, and it's not. So there's two different aspects of it, because you have the building relationships, building friendships, building networking, and all that, and then you also have the education, because that's really college is two things in one that you're getting. So if you want to go to college to like experience college life, I mean, yeah, I understand, but like in my head, it doesn't make sense. Like, the primary goal of college is to get the degree at the end of the day.
That doesn't make sense to me. Live off campus.
Exactly.
And just stay off campus and live by the. But to back up, like, what is a scam?
That's true.
That's true, because some people don't think that that's a scam.
But like, what is a scam though?
Okay, so are you asking for my definition of a scam?
Yeah.
I would say a scam is, and you all can add to this. This is not something that I've thought about with a lot of thought. This is just off the top.
All right. Yeah.
I think a scam is anything that one party uses against another to either profit or advance or take advantage, just in a way that's not thoughtful to the other party. You know, like, if we're really being honest, and we're going to talk about this later. I don't want to open up a new discussion.
All right.
A lot of people in education, right, the higher ups that make a lot of decisions about tuition and who gets this and who deserves that, they ain't thinking about, you know, everyone and the true college experience and what getting a degree really means. Like, it's about making money. It's about numbers. It's really about numbers. You know what I mean? Now, I can't speak for everyone and say that all people are like that, but I know that some people have to be like that, where they're not
scamming.
Yeah, where they're not thinking about the person. It's about making money.
For me, more so.
So what is scam to you?
A scam, like just the general definition is, in my head, it's if you're doing something with the intention of one thing and you get something completely else that was not a part of the original deal. So for example,
So you got hustled.
So for example, if I go to Amazon and I order a $300 mic and they send me a $15 mic from Walmart, I got scammed.
Yeah.
Now, if I go to Walmart and I order a $15 mic and they send me a $15 mic and it break in 3 weeks,
That's not a scam.
I don't think that's a scam because you get what you pay for.
Okay, so let me chime in real quick. So
ahead.
you're actually taking a direction that I wanted to, but I just wasn't thinking about it at the time. I like how you said that. In addition to what you said, I think a scam is also a situation where the value is not equally transferred.
I agree with that.
Meaning describing exactly what he just said, where you think you're getting one thing and it turns out to be a whole nother thing. Go ahead, but I know you waiting to say something.
Yeah, and so that's what I would define as scam. You know what I'm saying? You getting promised one thing, you pay or put in time, energy, whatever. You're promised one thing, but you get something else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's like the deception. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So when we say is college a scam, I think it's a blanket term that people say, but like, let's really break it down though. So like, what is being promised that is not received?
And that's
What is, and who is doing the promising?
Okay, so let me ask a question to help flush that out too. We know that people go to school for the express purpose of getting an education, or that's one of the main reasons, getting an education, right? But when we get there, are we truly learning in a general sense? Because some people truly are learning, but if we're talking about all students collectively as time goes on, are people really learning? And I think that'll help to answer the question of, you know, what you just asked. Like, are we really learning? Like, is it really education? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so to that, I'll say, so to preface what I'm about to say, I don't think everybody should go to college.
Right.
I 100% agree.
Exactly.
Not even, just because there's a major at the college doesn't mean you should go do it. Doesn't mean that you need to do it. But as a high school person, pick a college that fits your learning style. Like when you're in college, it's not college's responsibility to make you learn. Like you have some individual responsibility to learn, like to put in, like there's something you have to put in. We talk about college as if it's supposed to give you this, give you that. But just like the world doesn't give you anything. When you're in the world, you have to put in to get out. When you're at college, if you don't put anything in, you're not going to get anything out.
Exactly.
Like now they don't just open up your brain and dump knowledge into your brain, or you know what I'm saying, show up at your graduation and say, here's a job offer. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's just like, we can't ignore the aspect of us having to put in.
For sure.
So when we think about something being promised and us receiving it in terms of like if it's a scam or not, we also have to ask, are we putting in the amount of work needed to get something out of it?
To make that a profitable experience, for sure.
Because just anything in life can be unprofitable. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So we should make it a point to, if I am working hard, these should be the results. If I'm not, these should be the results. Because that is a big component on whether your experience is a scam or not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you on that, because I think you just touched on one side of it, and that's the side that, you know, when someone goes to college, are they getting what they were promised? Right. And to touch on that again, I don't think many colleges promise.
They don't promise
anything.
You like the only thing that you get promised.
Go ahead.
The only thing I can say that you get promised is that if you go and I'm not even gonna say go to class. If you make the required grades to graduate college,
you'll get a degree.
That's the only thing
That's
promised.
the only thing that I think.
And that you are paying this tuition.
Oh yeah.
That's the only thing that you
I'll throw in a third thing that kind of umbrellas both of those, and that's just an opportunity They promise
opportunity.
an opportunity.
It's not the promise of an outcome.
Exactly.
They're not promising you a job.
And ends.
Like,
They're not promising you an ends by any.
Now,
Yeah.
if they do, and y'all got a school that do be promising you stuff, then that's not
different.
what we talking about.
Exactly.
But so on one hand, colleges do promote like their job placement stuff.
Yeah, the percentages, the numbers.
But you
all
also can't ignore the work that comes in between to get there, like the bridge.
sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For
But
sure.
I think overall society promises like just the overarching like tone of college promises X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, like we have to know that nothing in this world is like just gonna be handed to us.
Not at all.
And I don't.
Yeah.
People think with college like something is supposed to be handed to you just because you went, just because you paid all this money, just because you take out a business loan for 100 racks, don't mean people gonna come into your dry cleaners. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And the example that just like came into my head is, and Jonah will relate because we'd be talking about it all summer, is when you step into our AAU program, Art never once says,
I like where you're going with this. Keep
Art
going.
never once says, you play for us and you're going to college.
Right.
Because honestly, that's not up to Art. That's not up to us.
Just because you're on the team don't mean you're nice.
Exactly. What Art does say is, if you come to our program and work as hard as you can, I will get you an opportunity to go to college to play basketball.
An opportunity.
Exactly. And those are two different things completely.
Completely different
And I think it's the same thing with college. College doesn't say, if you come to my school, you will have a job. They say, if you come to my school, we will give you an opportunity to get a job.
Exactly. And those are two. Thank you for fleshing that out, y'all. That's predominantly what this topic is about. Like, people really think that just because you sign these papers and take out these loans that you're promised something.
To prosperity.
But there's nowhere else in life are you promised anything. We're not even promised the next breath. Like,
real
I
life.
could be. We believe that God controls everything and could take us all out like that if he wanted to. So in 5 minutes, I could lay out flat. And there's nothing that I could do about it.
Ain't nothing promised.
You know what I'm saying?
And an example that just came to my head is, think about the parable when God he had three gentlemen, and he gave them all
Talents.
seeds. Yes,
the
he gave them
talents. Yeah, parable of the
Yes,
talents.
sir.
And
I like the reference, bro.
one homie, he gave, what was it, 10?
I think it was 10, 5,
5
and
and
1.
1. Yeah, he gave
It
my
was
man's
5 and
10.
1.
He said, go do what you do. He gave man's 5. Go do what you do. He gave man's 1. Go do what you do. The first two came back and was like, yo, I made a profit on this. Like, here you go. Like, good. Guy was like, good. Here you go. Here's your reward. Keep pushing. The last dude was like, so what I had did, right, is I ain't want to lose it.
Preach, pastor.
So I took it and I buried it, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna keep it safe so that when he asks for it, I have it back.
Right.
And God looked at him like, yo, what is wrong with you, bro? That's not what I told you to go do.
Said do something with it.
I said to do something with it. And I think relating that back to, I mean, that is specifically tied to spreading the gospel. And like, I'm giving you this gospel, go spread it and make something with it. But tying that back to our topic is like, first of all, God didn't give each one of them the same amount of talents.
Exactly.
That's first off.
People had different things to work with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Second of all, the people who had the talents and went to go try to do something with it, most of the time in that specific example, they came back with something more than what they left with.
Right.
You got a
They made
return
something
for their
of it.
investment. Yeah.
And so if you go to college, even if it's the most difficult thing in the world, if you go and you try and take something from it, you're gonna get like I am a believer that it's really hard if you're trying to go to college and come back with nothing.
Yeah, bro. And if you at a college that is not tough, then transfer. And it's not always that easy, but you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And
And
take
so
responsibility.
I think a lot of the people that come back that I didn't get anything from college. Oh, college. I think those people are people who buried their talent.
What was your GPA? if what was your GPA? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can get into the financial aspect next.
Yeah.
But to touch on that a little bit, we talk about loans like we was having 4.5 GPAs in high school.
Right.
Like if I did my thing, and keep in mind, like I didn't do my thing in high school. You know what I'm saying? The later half of high school.
I did not do my thing in high school either.
You know what I'm saying? So if I have all these loans, if I did my thing in high school, I wouldn't have loans. Exactly. If I would have stopped being lazy and filled out the scholarship essays,
that is the number one thing that I wish I would have done. And my mom's gonna listen to this and she'll be like, I told you, Dion. Like, you know what I'm saying? My biggest regret of high school. There's two biggest regrets that I have in high school, bro. It's when I look back, bro. High school was cake, son. Like if I would have actually like applied myself, I'm not saying I would have came out of there with a 4.0, but my GPA would have been higher than like a 3.3 or whatever.
You just gotta try. High school is just like try,
bro.
And so like that on top of me. Oh, this is legit what I would do, bro. I would go to like your mom would send me them just too.
She was faithful.
And I would go to the scholarship websites.
Dang.
How long is that essay? Nah, I'm not sure.
Son, dab me up, son.
So now I can't be mad now that I'm paying all this in student loans because it's like
I ain't do what I was
supposed to do.
So let's not forget that. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't. Let's not forget that, man.
Yeah, just to bring some closure to that, just take responsibility for your life. And it's more prevalent today than it's ever been. Like people are always looking outward
and pushing responsibility
on other people. But to the point you just brought up, right? And we're going to get into debt in a little bit in more detail. But do you think enough people are educated on this? And I mean, when I mean people, I'm talking about the people in charge of making the prices, us as the consumer going into college, taking out loans. Like, are enough people truly educated about what it takes and what taking out a loan really means? You know what I mean? So both sides. I want both of y'all to touch on the people who are in charge and us as the consumer.
Are you talking about, before you go, Kashifa?
Yeah.
You talking about the people giving us the loans, or you talking about the schools?
Not people giving us the loans, the schools. Not the actual people giving us the loans, but the people who are in charge. Because there's a lot of people that are actually in charge of making the price of an education. But just touch on it how you feel led. You know what I mean? Both sides. Touch on both sides.
So I see tuition prices sometimes, and I don't know why it costs that much. Right. You know what I'm saying? The joint is out of my mind to me. But I look at it this way. In our society, you can set whatever price you want to set. I have to decide whether I want to pay it.
Right.
There's a million, like, it might be like a million schools. Like, you know what I'm saying? It might be a million schools.
There's a lot. Yeah.
So I can decide whether I want to go there or not. You know what I'm saying? I have options. I have community college, like, which is what I did. I went to community college. I didn't want to go to community college, but I knew I wasn't trying to be 100 racks in debt. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And I was in a situation I couldn't do that, like, period. You know what I'm saying? So I went to community college. It wasn't the cool thing. It wasn't the exciting thing. I didn't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? But once it finally clicked in my mind that, okay, let me make the most, it became a good thing. So as far as, like, financial decision making in high school, going to college, you know, deciding where you're going to go and whether you should take out loans, I don't feel like there's enough education provided to the students and to the parents. From the kids' perspective, it's just like, you need to go to college. Student loan is a part of it. Parents just want their kids to be in school. Like, they feel like that's the best logical next step. So it's just like, whatever comes with it, but you're in school. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not in everybody's household, but seeing how much of a crisis it is and how surprised people are with how burdensome their loans are. We don't know at 18 at the college night what the monthly payments are going to be when I get out of school.
Right.
We don't know what them payments are going to be like. We just, okay, so I could go away to school. Like, okay, like, we don't really understand. And
all that goes into it.
And for parents, you know how much your loans are taken out, but you don't know how the interest impacts it. You know what I'm saying? You don't see the compounding, how much is gaining every month. You know what I'm saying? So while I do feel like it's people's responsibility to know it, I'm not even gonna take away from it. You got to know what you're signing at the end of the day. You can't be signing stuff with big numbers and not know what it means.
Exactly.
You know, especially if everybody around you it's a national crisis, but you still throwing yourself into the pit. You know what I'm saying? You can't act like you didn't know.
Exactly.
So, but I understand there's still varying levels of education around finances and loans and stuff like that, and there is a lot of predatory things when it comes to student loans.
Yeah.
So I don't want to ignore that either.
Yeah.
But in a lot of people's situations, you just have to do your due diligence and not sign your life away for $500,000 at 18. And as parents, we can't do that either.
Yeah.
Like,
so go ahead. No, my bad. I cut you off. You done? You good?
Well, I was just gonna say,
keep going. My bad.
As Hezzy's pops, I'm not gonna sign him up for something like that.
Exactly.
Especially if I can't really pay for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And especially if he really don't need it.
Or if he don't even know what he wants to do.
Or if you don't know what you want to do, like, okay, let's talk about some other stuff. Or go to community college. I went to community college and paid for that joint as I was working.
Yeah. Knocked it out.
Mm-hmm. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah. So real quick before you go, Dion, there is, I want to give a quick shout out to somebody, because there is one person that tried to help me and my family coming up understand what it was about. And that's Miss Kai Holtz. Y'all remember Miss Kai Holtz from Frederick High?
Yeah.
She was so tough, bro. She not only helped us with the college applications and contacting people, but she really tried to educate us on what this means. And we need more people like her.
Yo,
I wanted to give her due diligence, because there are people out there that are trying. It's just not enough people.
Yeah, real talk.
So, Dion, what do you think about the other side? You know, touch on the other side, meaning, what do you think about the people who are making the decisions about what we're choosing to invest in and consume?
Good, because that's actually where I was going to go with it. But before I get there, I just want to say that, like, us as people who just recently graduated, I think, might be the best people to educate those beneath us. Because if you look at it, they're not going to get, if I'm a 17-year-old, I'm not going to another 17-year-old to give me money advice. Like, that's just that's not smart.
They might not even got money.
And at the same time, their parents may have gone to school way back when it was way cheaper.
Different.
So they're thinking differently. So I think us who just graduated be like, yo, you see where I'm at? I'm not trying to have you there. Listen to me. But to go back to what you asked, I think it's there's two things that I'm thinking right now. The first thing is, and Christian brought it up earlier, part of the reason why college is so expensive is because everybody goes to college. And so the part of when our parents were going to school and it was cheaper, not everybody was forced to go to college. Not everybody was pursuing college. People was going to trade school, people was going military, people was doing all these other things. And so when everybody and I'm gonna bring up economics again. Yeah. And the basic supply and demand.
I knew you were gonna go there.
Econ man.
Yeah.
And the basic supply and demand. If all of a sudden the demand jumps significantly, the price is gonna go up.
Skyrocket.
Like,
if y'all gonna come, I'm gonna just
I'm gonna crack y'all in the head while y'all coming for it.
And not only did the demand go up, but the value of the demand went up. And so all that, like, I'm sure there's people, I guarantee you there's economists during this whole transition that could have been like, oh yeah, that makes 100% sense.
Why it's happening.
Because there's more people going to college and people want to go to college more than they did now. So obviously as a smart business person, in that you're like, I got to raise the prices. Now, on that same token, like Christian said, I don't know what they be charging me lab fees for a gym class. Like, I don't know what that means.
Technology fee. I don't use no computer.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know what all those are.
Isn't that crazy?
And so I'm not even going to deny that. There's probably college is probably overpriced in terms of
a lot too.
After you take care of the salary, the buildings, the salary for the workers, the buildings and materials and all that, there's probably some other stuff that they could do for less that they just don't.
Oh, yeah, they just want their profit to increase a lot.
Coming back again to what Christian said, if all of us are willing to pay for it,
We're the dumb ones.
why would you change your prices?
Son,
We're the
And
dumb
so
ones.
hold up real quick. Hold up. So like for example, I'm like I said, I'm going back to school, right?
Yeah.
And
Congratulations, by the way.
thank you.
Yeah.
And one of the schools I was looking at, I'm not gonna name the price of the school. Great program. I'm going back for economics. So I'm like, great program. That's the first thing I look is is the program good? Mm-hmm. That joint was charging 40 racks. And I'm like,
that's a Tesla.
Get
Bro.
out of here, bro.
That's a
so
Tesla.
when I'm looking though, right? I'm looking at all these schools and I'm going to the websites like Best Economic School, whatever, and I'm looking 35, 52, 40. And I'm like, yo, what?
That's insane.
I'm going to when I
Is
go
that
back.
for a 2-year program?
It's for a 2-year program,
Get
bro.
the freak out of here.
per year.
No,
It's
total.
40
Oh,
for
wow,
2
wow,
years.
wow.
Yeah.
But check it, right? What I'm actually going back for, 15. I found a school, and it's actually their economics program is like,
Online?
yeah,
Nice.
and their economics program is, I think it was like top 30 in the country or something like that.
Right.
$15,000.
That's crazy, bro.
My job, like I think I might be able to get my job to pay for it. So like I don't even have to come out of
That's the thing.
Yeah. And so it's like,
That's the thing.
yeah.
Job, Dion.
If I'm going to like, and honestly, the only reason that I'm coming to this result is because I had to do it for Towson, where I'm just gonna go to this school, not think about the price, and then just go.
Yeah.
So it's like, if as a business, take college out of it.
Yeah.
Icon, if you selling this hoodie right here or this shirt right here for $200.
We are selling these hoodies though. They're not 200 though.
But
They're
fire,
not 200,
though.
but you better
You better
that
cop while you can.
But these shirts are not for sale no more. This is an exclusive. This is anyway. But if you sell that hoodie for $200 and them joints sold out, would you drop your price?
Never. They're never going on sale. You might pay more.
That's
I might raise
exactly
the
what I was
price.
about to say. You might even raise the joint up because as a business, if you're consistently reselling, you're like, I got to increase my price.
Yeah. Because people are comfortable there.
Exactly. If as much as they might complain, if you buy
Force
it at the
their
end
hand
of
a
the day,
little
Yeah.
bit.
it's
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
Now, if you sold them joints for $200 and nobody bought them joints, what you doing?
Sale, clearance, blowout. Everything
Exactly.
must go.
Blowout.
Everything must go.
80% off of everything.
And
Yo,
so
facts.
going to college, if I don't know who, like you said, there's probably multiple different people who come into this decision, but if I'm just looking from a number standpoint, I just got the sheets in front of me and I'm like, all right, we are over capacity and we are charging this much money for college. Why would I drop my prices so that more people can come, so that we can be over capacity even more? And that's why I said, if a lot of people who don't know what they're trying to do,
Yeah.
or the people who are like, I'm just going to college because somebody's forcing me to go to college or whatever. Mm-hmm. If they say, for example, when my brother was trying to go to school, I told him, I'm like, yo, if you don't want to go to a 4-year university or you don't know what you want to do not go.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And there's people think like, oh, I got to go to school to make money. Bruh, you ask the person who come and change the wires in your house how much money they make.
Oh my
Ask the person who come and fix the sinks. Plumbers, electricians, they make money and they work for themselves.
None of them make less than 30 an hour.
And it's like,
None of them. It's ridiculous.
and it's like they go to trade school. Trade school is
Yeah.
most of the time significantly less than college.
Yep.
And so if you take that portion of people who are basically in college for other reasons than they want to be in college to get an education, and you pull them out, colleges are going to see, oh, there's not as many people here as we should. We got to lower prices.
I think along with that, the perceived, and it may be real in some industries, the declining value of a bachelor degree.
Yes, sir.
Because there's some fields where a bachelor you could get out of school, make 120 racks off break. There's some industries you need a bachelor's, a master's,
And 5 years experience.
5 years experience, and then your starting salary is $25K.
Yo, it's terrible.
Like,
It's
you know what I'm saying? And
bro.
you like 200 racks in debt,
Yeah.
and your starting salary is $30K. You know what I'm saying? But do what a bachelor is working on Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? So I think we just have to make better decisions.
Yes, bro.
And those who don't know, like, it's our job to inform them. Like, if we know and everybody watching knows, like, we have to inform them and you know, just help pass knowledge along that wasn't passed to us.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I started with what I'm saying. Like, we know. Like, you went to school for what? Business. Tech, business information or some whatever.
Yeah.
Information systems.
And me.
Econ and finance over here, baby.
Econ and finance, both of us. So it's like, not even, I didn't do finance. I just did econ. But it's, we know what the job market, not entirely, but we know how hard it's been for us to get jobs or how easy it's been for us to get jobs. And we know what we make. So if we find, especially me and you coaching kids that are about to go to school, it's like, if we say, yo, I want to do econ. All right, let me talk to you real quick. Let me tell you, if you go to school, get this degree, this is how much you're going to be making coming out, rough estimate. And so now they're like, okay, now that I have this knowledge, do I want to get this debt to do that, or do I want to change my decision?
Exactly.
And so I think for you, you might, and I know you've been doing it too, is like going out to these places and then like, look, this is where I'm at. This is how I got here. Take this information and do what you want. If I give you this information and you still go $300,000 in debt and don't do anything, that's your own fault. I gave you the information.
Yeah.
But if you're going, if there's somebody who's about to go to college, don't know what they're gonna do, and they hear something like, "Yo, let me talk to you real quick," and they're like, "Oh, you're right. I didn't think about it this way," and they go, that's an educated decision.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. So like, I go back to College Park, UMD, and I go back to my community college.
How often?
I go back a lot.
Wow, that's tough.
I go back a lot. I'm trying to do some more stuff with FCC.
That's good.
I'm gonna be there next week.
Nice.
But when I go back to the schools, I see a very high stark contrast between students. There are students who are just there, who are just living college life, and then there's other students who they come up to me and hand me a resume, and I look at the joint and I'm like, how you got more than me? I got right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? This is kids out here who are grinding,
hustling
from freshman year, who got like 4.0s, doing stuff on campus, getting internships, doing co-ops, like doing like literally all this stuff, and they're out here trying to find employers on their campus. If they're not on their campus, they're going out sending letters to people trying to get opportunities. So if you're just existing in the college atmosphere, you have to know you're getting outworked.
Yeah.
And there's people around you. They may not say it, you may not know, because they're competing against you. They might not tell you, but they're getting to it. You know what I'm saying? They're getting to it, and they're not playing. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, there's not equal jobs, you know what I'm saying, out here for college students especially. So just know there's people out here grinding, and you can't be slipping out here, because it's real.
I feel you. So I'm glad we keep touching on this, right? You mentioned it a few times already. I mentioned it, and that's taking responsibility, right? And we're going to keep going with that idea. And now I want to talk about who's truly responsible for debt. Because it seems like the way things have shifted, right? And I can see both sides. I can. But people really try to throw their debt responsibility on other people and say, like, I went to school. I chose to go to school. I made this decision.
I signed the paper,
put my parents in debt, and I have to pay it back. But it's not my debt to pay back.
Yo, like, you would think somebody broke into your bank. You broke into your net worth account.
Threw 100 racks in debt in there. Like, it wasn't your decision.
Like, they snuck in and put it there. And
like,
you turned around,
crazy,
it's like, oh.
Yo.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how people talk about it. And I'll tell you a story.
Go ahead.
So, when I was at one of the schools I was at, they had a scholarship. And there was an administrator who I knew, and they came to me and told me, they were like, yo, we have this scholarship. Nobody's applying for it. If we don't give this money away, we're going to lose the funding. So apply for it, and you're going to get it. He said, this is free money. Nobody's applying for it.
Free bands?
Yes. So I was like, okay, I'll apply for it. So I go home, I'm like, doo-doo-doo-doo. So, and the next week, I get the joint in my account. My student account. You know what I'm saying?
That's tough.
So that kind of blew my mind, because there's a lot of resources that we're not using. like it's starting from high school, us not doing what we're supposed to do. The scholarships we can apply for before high school. We can go to the community college, but we don't. We can stay in state, but we don't. Once we get to the school, we can get good grades and apply for scholarships
but we don't.
while we're there, but we don't. You know what I'm saying? So we're at each step of the way, we're surrounded by opportunities.
Yeah.
When we get into the workforce and go back to school, we could work for somewhere that will pay for it, like you are. But we
Smart
don't.
decisions.
But we don't. You know what I'm saying? And I get that not everybody has opportunity to all of those things.
Exactly. Yep.
But we all have opportunity to some of those things. So we have to be careful about how we talk about our debt, it being our responsibility, even if we made the decision when we weren't knowledgeable. Even if we are in the hole, there's other decisions that we can make
to get us out the hole.
Yep.
If you take on 50,000 your first year, but then you peep, yo, this is crazy. You can transfer to a state school.
Exactly.
You can transfer to a state school.
You can transfer back to community college. Like
Yep.
there's a lot of options.
Dev worked through school.
Yep.
She worked through school. You know what I'm saying? Going in state. You know
Shout
what I'm
out
saying?
to her for that. Being a mother, working, going to school, all at the same
Crazy.
dang time.
Crazy. You know what I'm saying? And being married to me. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out.
Yo, that's a lot.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. But you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, man, like it's not nobody else's debt. We have a lot of decisions we can make. And like I said, a lot of us had to learn throughout the process. You know what I'm saying? Do things that we don't want to do.
Right.
Go to community college. Be looked at like you're not doing nothing.
Saving money. You can't ball out. Can't eat out. Can't get all new stuff that you want. But it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. Dion, what you
So
think,
for
bro?
me, I'll say this: a lot of people not a lot of people, but there's different factors that contribute to the debt and different reasons as to why it's so high. But like Christian said, ultimately, the responsibility, once you sign that paper,
It's on
yours.
the consumer. It's on the student, bro.
And so it's like-
is. Yeah.
I used to work at a bank. Y'all know this.
Yep.
And I'll get y'all hip to something, right? Bank's job is not to make you money. The bank's job is not to make you money. That interest rate that you have, the original purpose of a bank is to keep your money.
Safe.
And-
Just keep it safe. Yeah.
Then from there, they're looking for ways to make them money. And then from there, it's like, all right, what can we do with the other people?
Yeah.
And so with that knowledge and knowing that banks are trying to make their money first, if you sign a loan with a bank, you know that they're trying to make money off of your loan.
They are taxing.
That's called
you.
interest.
They're gonna hit you with that interest. Exactly.
What interest is the price of money. That's what it
Yes.
is.
Yep.
The interest is the cost that you pay to
Cost
take
of
out money.
borrowing money. Exactly.
And so and you can look at interest rates before you sign a loan. They will. In fact, they tell you what they are before
make
you
sure
sign the
because
loan.
they can get in trouble if they don't tell you.
Working
So
at a
you-
bank, they will get in so much trouble if the banks. One thing that they are is, in terms of interest rates and hidden fees, they are upfront with them because they will get in a lot of trouble if they're not.
Right.
And so you can see, all right, this is how much the loan is. This is what the interest rate is. After I get out of school, this is how much debt I'm going to be in before you do it.
Right.
Regardless if the amount of money that you're paying in the interest rate is out of pocket, you know that before you sign.
Yeah.
And so,
But people are getting their hands forced. They have to sign it.
exactly.
They're forced to sign it. They have to.
And so that's why I say
That's facts.
there's a lot of contributing factors to it. Now, for people like me, I was 17 when I went to school, so I wasn't even. I had to have a cosigner on my joint.
Right. Right.
But it's like, and I'll say there's two parties actually that's responsibilities because at that age I'm gonna bring the parents into it too. But between the parents and the child, and especially the parents, you should not if you see this and you're like, I don't know, don't force your kid
Go
to
with
sign
your
it.
gut. Yeah.
Like, because at the end of the day, you can complain all you want. It's not just gonna go away. Like, as much as I see on Twitter, student debt should be eliminated. We should. It's not going to go away. It's not going to go away.
It's not going.
And like
anywhere.
Christian said, like every kid who goes to college has had. They might not have had all the opportunity, but they had the opportunity to work as hard as they could in high school. Like nobody but them could control that.
Yeah.
Now, was their high school experience all the same? Did they have the same? I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is every single person on the planet Earth has the ability to do the best at which they're capable of doing. Everybody's capabilities might be different, but they have the ability to reach
and everybody's
their best.
Platforms at which they started are different.
Completely
but you can
different.
Still give
but
your
you can
best.
still give your best.
Exactly.
Speaking from me, and I think y'all said it too, so I think I can speak for y'all on this. We all had the opportunity, junior year, senior year, summer before we went to school, to look up so many scholarships.
That's a fact.
And like I mentioned before, his mom would send me an Excel spreadsheet of websites with 30, 40 scholarships on there. It was my decision. I don't know if Jay ended up doing what he did.
Yo, no lie. That's a true story.
But it was my decision at the end of the day to not do it. Like, straight up. My mom was telling me, Ms. Meredith was telling me, other people was telling me, it was my decision not to do it. Again, regardless of the price itself of college, is it OC? Yeah. But did I have ways to combat it? Most definitely. So I'm not going to sit here and I'm going to be upset like, dang, I got to pay these student loans. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be upset at myself because it's like, dang, I could have done scholarships. Like, all right,
Yo,
let me tell you a true story, right?
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the first lesson of college.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
When you sign the loans in high school.
It is.
And it's a lesson that you're going to learn until your adulthood, till you like 30, 35.
Because you're going to be taking out some loans. You really will.
Let me tell you a true story. And this story like makes me so mad at myself, but like at the same time it's like you live and you learn. Never in my life did I ever get straight A's. Ever. Like elementary school, middle school, high school, right? And it wasn't because I wasn't capable, and this is why my mom used to be so mad. It's because I used to be getting bored in class, like because it was so easy. But it's because I just didn't like. Oh, I got a B. All right, like I can get a B. Like I'm cool. Like I can get a B with zero effort. I could get an A with a little bit more effort, but I got a B with no effort.
So we coolin', yeah.
My senior year, last semester of senior year of college, I was behind in classes because my advisor was like, "Oh, you can take 4 classes each semester and you graduate on time." And then I come to find out that I'm gonna have to stay extra semester if I don't.
Son, they used to be setting people up.
That used to make me so mad.
That's a whole other thing. That's
so my senior year, last semester, I'm supposed to be cool, and it's my last semester of college. I had to take 21 credits. That's 7 classes.
No, boy.
And
Bugging.
My GPA, bro. In my head, I got a 4.0. The only reason I didn't get a 4.0.
Wait, what you mean in your head?
Because the only reason I didn't get a 4.0 is because Towson wanted to do that dumb plus minus scale. And I had a 92 in the class, and it was an A minus.
That's dead.
So it was like a 3.9.
Got a 3.9.
Whatever. I was so mad. But like, up to this date, my last report card ever was straight A's. Like I said, I never got it. And the only difference, literally the only difference, was that I worked harder that semester than I ever did in my life. Wow. And so it's like, I be getting mad because after I got that joint, I was like, son, I have never seen this many A's on a sheet for me in my life. And it's like, low key, that joint wasn't that hard. Like, it was difficult. It was a lot of work, but like, I could have done this all throughout school. And if I would have done this all throughout school, I would not be paying for college right now.
Right.
And so, like Christian said, we all have the opportunity. Like, whether we take it or not is our decision. And that's why I
Empower
think
yourself.
Coaching kids, like, you aren't be getting so mad because it's like, dog, we are, and this is not even in terms of education, but we're putting these schools, they're coming to see you play. And then you're going to go want to do your own thing, not do anything that we're like, yo, if you do this, I've talked to this coach. Like, I just got off the phone. I was just talking to him and whatever. If you do this, he's going to look at you with more interest. And they go do something completely different than what we say. And we're just like,
whose fault is that?
We can't do anything about it. Exactly. And it's the same thing. My mom, your mom, all these other people. If you work hard, if you fill out this scholarship, if you do this, this will happen. And when you choose not to do it,
this will happen.
This will happen.
Yep.
And so at the end of the day, like I said, there's all these different factors, bank prices, whatever, college is making prices this much, whatever. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you have the ability to control some of that. I'm not saying you're going to go to college for free. I'm not saying if you do all these steps, you're going to have no debt or anything. Right. But you have the resources. You have this podcast that you're listening to now, us telling you, like, there's other ways to do it than going $5 million in debt.
Make the most of your situation.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. And just to bring some closure to this topic right here, I just think it's important to remember that parents play a huge role in this, and making sure that their kids understand that you're responsible for your future. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I'm going to have to sign this loan in my name because you're not old enough. But this is your decision, and you're going to be paying this back. So whatever you decide to do moving forward, there will be consequences.
And don't waste this money.
Good and bad, but this is on you. And too many parents are that crutch for their kids to where they get to a point in life where they don't know how to act, they don't know how to function, think on their own. That's so bad. That's not good.
On top of that, I think, like, if there's parents watching this, really, really think about, like, the decision. Like, it's one thing if you, like, because I'm sure as y'all two as parents and me as a future parent, like, hopefully, Lord willing, we want our kids to optimally go to college and get an education and do all this. But as parents, I mean, and what I'm about to say is, if they don't want to go, if they don't know what if college is not the optimal situation for them, do not say you going to college or you get cut off. You going to college and you're not, because college is not the only option. Like, you can go. I know my man's Justin. My man's can go to the military and get an education and they'll pay for it. Yeah. Like, there's other options. You can go to community, like, and I keep stressing on it because there's so many more options. Like, if they don't want to go to college, like, as a parent, yes, you can be like, you're gonna be in school, in military, working. You're gonna be doing something. I'm 100% okay with that. Yeah. But it shouldn't be college or get out of my house. Exactly. Because then they're gonna insanity. Then they're gonna put the pressure on the kid to be like, I don't really want to go. I don't want to sign this, but like, I have to because I'm gonna have nowhere to live. You develop
a child who, and whatever they do moving forward, won't know how to give their best to what they're passionate about. So they're always going to be up in the air about what they want to do, about how they're going to do it. And that is, a lot of that falls on the parents. You can't lead your kids in a direction that is not good for their life. Like, college is not everybody's road, and that's okay.
And I think once you're that, like, it's one thing if you have elementary, middle school kids, yes, you need to guide them a lot more than you do in a high school kid. For sure. But when you're 17, 18, even 19, 21-year-olds who are still going to college and still have to make that decision, your job as a parent at that point, I think, is to, here are your options. Like, this is option A, option B, option C, option D, and let them choose. And just say, hey, these are the consequences. Now, because you can't, like, even if they make the wrong decision, it's a live and a learn experience.
Yeah, that's not necessarily bad for their life, but as long as you're educating them on what they're choosing.
Now, obviously, I'm not saying go let your kid wild out and do whatever, but y'all know what I mean. Like, if it's 2, 3 options that aren't gonna put them in like, if they do well in the options, it's not gonna put them in a bad situation or whatever. Like, mom, I'm not, like, interested in going to school. I want to do this. Or, like, I'm not interested in joining the military. Like, I really don't want to do that. You shouldn't be like, nah, you doing this. Because at the end of the day, what's going to happen, and I've seen it so many times, we've gone to school with some of these people, is they end up going to college and they're miserable. And they get in debt and then they leave after 2 years.
And then they just worse, and even worse than wasting money.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. They just
nothing to show for it.
They spent $50,000 and didn't get anything.
Yep, and wasted time, and their relationship with their parents deteriorated because they forced them to do something they didn't want to do, and there's nothing to show for that. Like,
it's dangerous.
Very, very dangerous. So, in closure, real quick, last mini topic. I don't know if it's gonna be mini, but we'll see.
We'll keep it brief.
All right, so
I'll try.
Do you all think what college you go to matters? Now, I'm going to give my quick piece, and then I'm going to let y'all rock. I think that going to certain colleges will help you have certain opportunities. I do believe that.
Facts.
But there is, and actually it also depends on what you study. Because some colleges are known for a specific
good program
study or specific program, and some are known for others. So I was, like I told you, I was listening to something on the way over here, and I don't know who it was because the video was old and it was borderline black and white, but they didn't say who was speaking. So this dude, and I'm gonna do some research and see if I can figure out who it is, but this dude was speaking and he said, yeah, you know, I went to Wharton for 2 years. Tough. First of all, that's tough. Went to Wharton for 2 years and didn't like it, hated the experience, and finished up at UNL, which is University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he said, and he has to be famous or rich or something because he wouldn't be on this video if it, for any other reason.
Yeah.
But he said, my experience at both of those business schools was the exact same. He said, but it depends on what you're studying. Like, if you're studying accounting, you better not go to Wharton for accounting because there are a bunch of other schools out there that can teach accounting the exact same way. Even at the junior college level, you can get a very good education with accounting. So I think that you do have to be careful about where you choose to go because some opportunities might be better. But if you are searching for a specific opportunity where a school is elite in that category, I say go to that school. What do y'all think?
I think, so I went to UMD Business School.
That's tough too, by the way.
I think it's less on quality of what you learn. Of course, there's some extreme differences. You know, if you're talking about Wharton, the best business school in the whole country, like it's gonna be better than it's gonna actually be more elite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as far as resources at Maryland, we had probably like 10 to 15, we had a lot of employers in our school building every day, posted up in the hallway, handing us flyers like, yo, check out, we got positions, check us out, coming to networking events. And I know because I go back there and do it now. Yeah. Like, we be at the school, like, meeting students, connecting with students from freshman year, you know what I'm saying? Building pipelines, like, all that stuff. So I know not every place has that, you know what I'm saying? Like, where all the companies just come to you and they approach you. I mean, yeah, you have to be tough to actually get these opportunities because, like I said, the competition is real. But it does matter the program that you go to because you want to go to a program that has good resources that is gonna be able to connect you best into the industry that you want to go into. I think a lot of times people arbitrarily choose programs or schools. Oh, my friend's going here. Oh, or it's close to home, and like those are like important factors. But like in terms of if we're talking about you want to get scammed or not, maybe it's in your control to choose a program if you have the choice to the best program that's available to you. You know what I'm saying? And make the best of the resources whatever resources that you do have. Because school does matter. From an employer's perspective, I've worked with different HR people from different places that I worked at, and they recruit from certain schools.
They're looking at certain schools.
Certain schools they don't go to, just like basketball. There's certain Catholic or private or conferences that they look at in American high schools that they know stars are going to come from.
The quality of kid and basketball player will be solid no matter what they do.
Choose any one of them. Like the average person is going to be elite. You know what I mean? You can't go wrong. So companies target schools. So if you're going into an industry that you need to choose a good program, you want to do this, choose a place that is one of those target schools for whatever. It could be nursing. Nursing, Towson has a great nursing program. UMD does. There's other great nursing programs. Don't go to a school that their nursing program is just kind of like an afterthought. You know what I'm saying?
Or they just added it last year.
Like, oh yeah, we got a joint in the basement. Well, we got it though.
Got one.
We got one though. We got one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just, and we don't always get our first pick, for program, but
make the most of what you're given.
Make the most of what you're given, and try and be as smart as you can to go to places that are going to give you the most opportunity.
Facts. What about you, Demo?
So mine is actually a mixture of both. What I was about to say is a mixture of both. I think if you're going to school for the sole purpose of getting educated, to be honest, I don't know if there's that much of a difference like Jonah said. Like, and Jonah could probably speak to it the best because he's went to 3 different schools.
That's a fact.
And so it's like,
yo, Shorty been around the block.
Been around the block.
but it's like
block.
mine. If my and you, actually, like I said, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Our experience in the Towson economics program probably was not that different from the experience at Shenandoah or Messiah.
I'll say this real quick. Messiah and Shenandoah's business programs were harder.
They were harder?
Because it's a private school.
Oh, okay.
But the content,
that's what I meant.
The opportunities for work, all the same.
And like because at the end of the day, all subjects have a basis of what they're being taught. If you go to any economic school,
they will start with the same foundation. Yeah.
Supply and demand. Like, you're going to learn that. You can learn that in 40 different schools, and they're going to teach you all this. Like, I guarantee you right now, you can drop me into Harvard economics program.
And we'll know exactly what's going on.
Now, their grading might be harder. All that other stuff might be harder, but in terms of I'll be able to follow along. In fact, George Mason has one of the top economics programs in the country.
And
it's like
finance,
top,
too.
Yeah. And I got recommended, and I'm at Towson, and I made a connection with one of my professors, and I'm so mad. See, this is another thing, bro. You got to take advantage of opportunities. I'm so mad I didn't do it, but he recommended me.
Yo,
it's okay,
bro.
man. It's all good.
It's all
This
good.
ain't hit me, bro.
It's okay,
but this
bro.
man, like, it wasn't like a general recommendation of the class, but he selected me. Like, I ain't even come up to him to be in the summer program for George Mason.
Yo,
Bro, that's why I'm so sick.
why you do it?
Because it was like it costed something, and I was doing something over the summer, so I couldn't. But I'm like, dang, I would have going back. I should have just done it. But
That's nice though.
like they're like, bruh. Anyway,
when you're tough, you get those type of looks.
Exactly.
And so what had happened was, I'm reading over the material trying to figure out what I went. In my head, I'm thinking, yo, this is George Mason. Like, oh, my fault. This is George Mason. Like, this drink's about to be dumb hard. And I'm reading this drink. I'm like, oh, I know this. This is the same stuff I've been learning in class. Like, are the concepts more complex? But like the basis of it is the same. So in that aspect, dang, bro, I said I was supposed to be short, but
You good? Keep rocking. Keep rocking.
I got another point to add too.
Keep rocking.
in terms of the actual X's and O's of what you're learning, it's going to be pretty similar wherever you go. Now, to what Christian said, though, employers definitely look at other schools. If I'm a lawyer, if I'm an HR person from a lawyer, and I see Harvard Law on your joint, you automatically in the stack that I'm going to look at.
I'm picking him.
Bro, they're going to pick your app from the middle of the stack.
Delicately. They're gonna hold your thing like this.
They're going to put it on the wall.
Even better.
Because
Right on the freaking wall.
and it's the same reason as to why college basketball or football, the reputation of Harvard Law is just up there. So even if you're learning the same thing, they know.
It's just a reputation.
If I'm a high level MBA, or if not even MBA, that's not what I meant to say. If I'm a high level college coach, if I'm coaching at Kentucky, if I'm coaching at Duke, and I'm in Maryland, sorry, I'm not going to Frederick High School. I'm going to DeMatha and Good Counsel and Gonzaga because I know that's where, like, regardless, the coaches can be teaching the same exact thing.
Yeah.
I know that there's a difference between the two.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if I want to learn basketball, like if I'm just trying to play, is there much of a difference between what John Calipari's teaching and what me and you and Art are teaching the kids? There might be some differences. He's had more experience, but in terms of
Still basketball.
it's still basketball.
Yeah.
No, there's not that much difference. But the reputation of the school, like you said, the coaches are going to be there.
Yeah.
So that's if you have the opportunity to not hurt yourself and go to these schools, most definitely do it.
Agree with you.
But if you're just going to school and it's like, I'm just trying to like learn about this, or I'm not too focused on going to the top, like I'm just trying to get into the workforce and whatever, you can go to majority of these schools and be fine.
Yeah.
Right. And another interesting point is I know with our business program at Maryland, that's a little bit of what I'm doing at FCC is when employers go back to the business school, they help craft the curriculum.
Oh.
Like, and it's not like they shape the curriculum, but they have input into so an accounting firm will go back to Maryland and be like, we think the accounting student should have this in the curriculum because that will make them more attractive to us. So when they do that, we know as an accounting firm, I'm not an accountant, but we know as an accounting firm, students from this school are coming out with the skills that we need, that we requested
or even require. Yeah.
So, and I don't know that from these other schools, so I'm going into this school. So, and that's kind of what I'm part of the stuff I'm trying to do at FCC is, so they have a business program, and obviously it's community college, so not too many people invest in doing that. Mm-hmm. But for those kids who go that route, the route less traveled, that should be more popular, mm-hmm. they need resources too. Because when I was at community college, we didn't have no resources. We didn't have no insight to even what the business majors were at 4-year schools. Like, we didn't know anything. Mm-hmm. We just had to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So as somebody who transferred to a 4-year and then is in the workforce, I have insight for FCC on, okay, like, when we're talking about the curriculum, like, we need to think about ordering it like this or including things like this, mm-hmm. to where they're more attractive for to the better programs or to the internships, you know what I'm saying, while they're in community college. So the programs all are all relevant, you know what I'm saying? Like, the program you go to is relevant, and if it's not, wherever you went, try and build into it however you can.
Yep. Agreed. But yeah, man, I enjoyed that one. Just in closing, I think it's important, and we touched on this a lot, so I think it's important to close with this. It's important for people to take responsibility, right? Everybody take responsibility for yourself, your future, for your shortcomings, for whatever it is. Take responsibility for it. And in coupling your education, like, remember that your experience, your networking are just as and even more so important than your education. Like, you have to continue to make yourself an attractive candidate for whatever you're seeking to pursue. Like, it's not just about your education. Like, you have to know people. You have to even create opportunities.
Network.
That's a whole nother topic.
Build your network, you know, and we can really talk about that in a whole nother segment, because that's a lot. Mm-hmm. But just keep taking responsibility, man. Like, that's one thing that I think a lot of people, young people nowadays, don't do. Take responsibility for your future, and college is a good choice. Just make sure you make the right one.
I'll say this one last thing too. If you feel like you got scammed by college, not like legit, because some people do feel that way, and some people are done dirty. Like, I was done dirty in a few ways, but if you feel like you were done dirty, don't just leave it at that. Tell somebody coming up, like, younger than you, or tell your partners, like, that you're with, yo, this is my situation. It's messed up. Yeah. Don't let this happen to you. You know what I'm saying? Don't just leave it at, yo, they did me dirty, and just sit there. Like, if you were disadvantaged, like, do something about it. Tell somebody, or go do something about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's not just sit here and allow everybody else to go through what we went through if they don't have to. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a part of us taking ownership too. Yeah. But that's another episode. It's a wrap. I enjoyed that, brothers.
Yes,
sir.
Yep.
And follow.
Hey. Oh, didn't you mind break the whole table?
And follow us on YouTube at the Cuttin Deep Podcast, on Instagram at the Cuttin Deep Podcast, on Apple Podcasts, the Cuttin Deep Podcast, Spotify, the Cuttin Deep Podcast, and on Twitter, Deep Cuttin, because the Cuttin Deep Podcast was taken. I don't know. That's weird.
All right,
All right, y'all. Holla.
Deuces.